Look at this. We're actually live at 7:05 for the first time in a very long time. We promise that we'll be live at 7:05. We actually are tonight. You're listening to the award-winning To Hull and Back podcast. We didn't win our award for punctuality. I am your host, Nathaniel, and tonight I'm joined by Christian and Joe to discuss quite a disappointing end to the sort of, I guess, the first start to the season, although I think you could probably say 10 games in is a start to the season, as we lost 4-2 at Ashton Gate. Now, Christian, I can see you're on the camera. I think Joe, if you're watching this, it will say that he's going to get a takeaway. So, Christian, how are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, I'm all right, buddy. Thanks for asking. I think, I mean, obviously it was disappointing yesterday, but I'm not worried yet. I'm not worried. I'm just disappointed with yesterday's result. I think is it kind of the only way to kind of categorize it with what we saw, especially obviously defensively was very poor, extremely poor. I think we can all guarantee and agree on that one. We still look semi-attacking threat, I would say. I think the problem was linking up between. Oh, exactly. We scored 2 goals, which is it's a positive thing for us to still be scoring in the first place, let alone still be scoring it. I think the biggest difference, obviously, that we're just seeing at the moment was the link up between the defense and the attack. So it's now kind of done the full flip reversal, if anything, from where attack couldn't really do anything great last season, but defense was absolutely brilliant and still doing their job. Even though we were obviously leaking goals, but there's only so much you can take, in that aspect of things when your defense is at it for 90 minutes. But now we're at the stage of where our attack for 90 minutes isn't an issue and we're quite confident in getting those goals. But now can our defense currently handle any sort of attack at them, which is a big change.
It's easier to stop goals going in than it is to magic goals out of nowhere, isn't it?
Of course, of course.
I would say
and that's
so.
it, Joe. And I agree on that.
If we keep both Mr. Hughes and Ivor Panda, then that makes that job even easier. Lose them both on deadline day, however, that is suicide. But it's not going to happen.
It is quite concerning. It's been a skill. It looks like, and we'll get on to that. We'll talk about the Bristol game, but we've got a lot to get into, so we'll get on to that. I was very concerned. Well, no, I wasn't very concerned after the Blackburn game, and I was even less concerned when we were told that it was because of the virus. Whereas I think today, if you have written off the Blackburn game, then today's the first. Well, yesterday was the first match where you'd be concerned about the result and the performance, especially defensively, because we conceded 4. I think they hit the bar twice. Did they? They could have had more, and even reliable Panda from last year. And Hughes, who made a mistake for the third goal. Maybe their heads have been turned slightly and weren't fully on it. But considering that the virus shouldn't have had anything to do with the performance yesterday, that's a big concern that even after going 1-0 up, they crumbled the way they did. It could have been a lot more than 4. And of course, if you're a fan who hasn't written the Blackburn game off because of the virus, then you think, well, you look at Blackburn, you lose 3-0 at home, and they haven't learned their mistakes, and it's frustrating because it's easy goals we're conceding. It's from crosses, and it's crosses into the box. Giles and Drame aren't stopping them enough. I think, especially now that Williams might have some time in the under-21s and Coyle is back, maybe the fullbacks need to be looked at, but it's the whole team. As you said, Christian, the midfield was disjointed, and there was no link between the attack and defence. Seemed a little bit Tim Walter-esque at times with the gaping chasm I think Slater and Lundstrom are too far up the pitch, too advanced.
Yeah, so, definitely. That was a big issue.
I think obviously Slater's got the flack, and to an extent, rightly so. He was poor, and he was poor against Blackburn as well, but so was Lundstrom.
Yep.
However, with us looking at Darko Gyabi and a midfielder making way, Regan Slater, even though this midfielder is unnamed, the obvious one to move on is Regan Slater. Contract up at the end of the year. Struggled for form since Liam Rosenior left. And it's a shame to see Slater just get stuck in this rut because he's not a bad player. You know, he's won Player of the Season awards for us and stuff like that in the past. He's not a bad player. He's been a good servant for the club. As much as it pains me to say it, I think his time is up. But that midfield performance isn't just on him. Granted, we do miss Crooks in that middle massively because he's a presence, he's a workhorse, he's always looking to get the ball forward, he's a goal threat. So the quicker he's back, the better. Also, you can argue the same for Elliot Matazo because he's just so technically unbelievable. And looking at the fullbacks, Giles and Drama were poor. We created chances, but they didn't get forward.
Yeah, you're right there, Joe. Yeah.
On the defensive side, against Coventry, you had the two wingers who were Kamara and Ndala that day, constantly tracking back. Yesterday, you didn't have that same tracking back from Ndala and this time Akintola. And that's something that should be worked on. I think we should have looked at the Coventry game and gone, we need to try and do the same again. And that's not what I saw.
Yeah, nice. I think Ajayi has been a huge miss, and it's very concerning again that these centre halves keep getting injured. But he's been a huge miss because the only clean sheet we've had was when he was in defence. So we need him back after the international break.
No, I think you're both right on that one. With respect to the back line, Sami Ajayi is just. It's crazy thing, though he's injury prone and he's only been at the club a very short time. You can already see how much of a big gap is left throughout that. I mean, we can't sugarcoat Hughes obviously had a poor game as well, but this is everybody at the back.
He's just pouring Coventry off the scent. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, that's all he's doing. Yeah, he's just pouring off the scent.
He wants to be a Hull City player.
I mean, Egan, it was absolutely just behind it. I mean, I'm not going to say it was abysmal, but as outings go, I
think you can say it was abysmal. Defensively, it was abysmal.
He just wasn't in the game fully, was he? He just seemed behind everything, and I mean literally behind everything. He was half a step away. He was the wrong side of the attack. His kind of awareness to even kind of get himself out of the danger zone, which is pretty poor. It was a really bad day for him. Now, obviously, players get that, and you're allowed a day or two, a match or two like that. But obviously, after this kind of break that we've got coming up as well, that really, really needs to kind of get sorted out. That is something that it needs to kind of just fix up, because if it happens again after the kind of the break, it's not going to be good for him, and it's not going to be good for us, obviously. I think with respect to to Giles and Drame, I think you said it bang on there, Joe. Just too deep. There was no attacking forward threat. They were playing more fullback style instead of wingback style,
which doesn't work for those two players
at all. Yeah, it just does not work for them, and that was obvious. I think I saw a post earlier. Someone saying interesting debate. Is Ryan Giles' redemption story come to an abrupt end?
It wasn't a very long one, then, was it?
I was going to say it wasn't a long one, but and everyone who watches the show knows what I'm usually like with respect to Ryan Giles. But no, it's not coming to an abrupt end. I just feel like he was played completely wrong, or both of them had to do something a bit differently. I do feel that's actually stemmed from the midfield with, again, surrounding Slater, because there wasn't really anyone doing that sit kind of deep in front of the two centre-backs. That kind of gives the option to go almost to a back three, and that allowed our wing-backs kind of to push on. So it was almost like a flat back four instead, because the midfield went missing, and because it went so missing, there was nobody sat in front of them. There was just a gaping hole between attack and defence, and so much space for them to run into Bristol. And I'm not taking anything away from Bristol either when I say this. Bristol had a good game plan. They were really good. They had a really good team. They've started the season very well. And Bristol, let's be honest, Bristol always do something against Hull City. They always do.
At Ashton Gate since 2012. We've not won in total there since we've beaten the League Cup in 2016. We given that they're a good side, and
Yeah.
given that it's our bogey ground against our bogey team, we shouldn't have expected to go there and get a win. I think everyone saw that from early, and we'd have been buzzing with a point.
Yeah,
It's just-
and I think I
Yeah.
said 2-2, Joe, if I'm honest with you about that game. I mean, Ashton Gate is a very, very kind of bogey ground for Hull City. And you kind of, I'm kind of happy that we still got 2 goals. Obviously, I'm always happy if we're going to score a goal anyway. But it was a 6-goal thriller game in a way for the neutral. If you're a neutral fan, that was a brilliant game.
And for Adrian, that's the football Adrian wants, as Des is commenting in here. I'm concerned slightly because we had this under Slutsky and we had to replace him with Adkins, and we had this under Volta, we had to replace it with Sayers, where we have these managers that play this, well, not only just under Adrian, but under THAB Alan as well, of course, with Slutsky. But we play so open, and yes, you're going to come out on the right end of these teams or games where it's high scoring, but we're only 4 games in, 5 if you count Wrexham, that was 3-3. Clearly, Jukovic's tactics lean towards it being a high-scoring game and hoping that our attacking players can, get us over the line in some of these games. But I think he's got to think, now we've conceded 12 in, is it 5 games?
4 games, is it? No, 4 games here, 12 and 4.
Well, it's the last 4, isn't it? Yeah. But not the full league games, yes.
Yeah.
He's got to think, well, early on, if we go and do the away at Swansea, who've started well, and I think have the lowest XG conceded in the league, and when we go and play Southampton, then we're going to get absolutely torn apart again. So hopefully, if Jukovic was, again, I doubt he'll have done this, but if he was writing off the Blackburn game as just one where they're affected by illness, I think the Bristol one surely makes him think, okay, I can't do this. This is a different league. I'll learn from it. 2 weeks off. If someone's commented in here, if we go and lose, 3-2 or 9-5 to Swansea, whatever the match could be that, because there are a lot of chances, 49 shots in the Bristol game, then I'd be concerned.
Well, that opens up the question, though, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Sorry, it opens up the question, Ben. Is that a Sergei thing, or is it a depth situation player thing? Because
we're not at our strongest. Even I think some of the players who have been affected by the illness even slightly, and they're not all in the right positions. And we need someone next to Lundstrom, don't we? Absolutely, because the defense hasn't got any. I think when you play Giles and Drame, you don't expect them to be great defensively. You need someone else to support them in behind, in front of the defense. I agree.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I noticed on Saturday with Bristol. So when we brought McCarthy, and he kind of did that sitting, obviously we got another goal. We actually came back into the game a little bit more when he actually came on, because he was doing that sitting in front of the 2 at the back. I found that was when Giles and Drame actually, I mean, it wasn't much more, but they were able to actually gain a few extra yards, and a lot more crosses were actually getting swept into the box from that situation after that substitution. Which makes me feel right now about these holes that everyone's mentioning in the midfield. I don't believe that's a case of Sergei's coaching style or Sergei's tactics, because from the beginning of the season and pre-season, we've seen no hole in that midfield. We've actually seen someone sat in there.
Low scoring friendlies in the first match.
Yeah, but we've dominated possession as well. And we've seen someone sat in there, kind of allowing our wing backs to pull forward, to have that like kind of back 3 almost, which allowed us to push into the opposition half and stay in that half and control the game in the opponent's half. And it's all been attacking with the switch balls and everything. So, I mean, from my perspective, I feel like it is a player issue, such as, say, for instance, Slater was next to Lundstrom, being in that kind of situation, and it didn't allow anyone to sit in. So there was that huge gap in the midfield, because you've got 2 very, I don't want to say the similar players, but they are to an extent of where they are positionally on the pitch. And when you've got 2 identical players, you're going to create a gap, because obviously they're both occupying the same kind of territory and not really linking up as well. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. And I mean, even Joe Geller, I mean, he was a bit here, there, and everywhere position. Don't get me wrong, great goal, great run
very well
from.
taken.
Well, Akintola was everywhere as well, but he just
Akintola is probably the only player who could. Yeah, he's probably the only player that can hold his head high. If I'm honest, I mean,
maybe
it was a great game for Akintola. I thought, with respect to how much work he did.
It wasn't a great game with respect to how many times he was found offside, though, wasn't it?
And again,
yeah, I actually did say
29.
That,
yeah. He should know that at 29. I mean, they do have the offside rule in Turkey, so there's no excuse on that. And he's a quick player as well, so he doesn't really need to be offside. It's usually the quick players who are trying to make the runs in behind the defence that tend to get offside, but he doesn't need to be because of his pace. But yeah, it was a good assist. He could have had one for Joseph's header later on in the second half as well. So that's certainly one positive to take, is that. And I said this after 2 short sub-appearances. Don't write him off. I know the record from Turkish League's not been great, but then he goes and gets an assist, equals Sinik's record with 1 assist for the club in the league. So, he's better than Sinik. He's only 1 assist off a Mur as well, and he is going to be on a whole less amount of money. So, that's a positive, certainly, to take that. I mean, yes, I think the first few comments we had, another positive, though, of course, right at the very end of the game, bit of a consolation goal, but Carl Joseph finally, I don't know how many games he's played for us. It might be 20, but on his 30th championship appearance in his career, finally got his goal. Nice, well taken one. I suppose an easy one, but it'll be difficult for him to go on a run of scoring now because, of course, McBurney's the number 1 player. But nice for him to finally get a goal. More goals than Betty Sharp for Hull City at the very least.
Yeah, but what's
it,
quadruple the amount of games?
Only 2 behind Betty now.
2 behind Betty. He's got to catch up to that. But again, I thought, yes, he didn't score all his chances. Even Haaland doesn't. He had about 5 sitters today and scored the 1, but he was getting involved. He was getting chances to score. They'll always do that, and now he's got 1. Hopefully, he'll start to convert them a little bit more. And I think Destan and McBurney, probably similar profile player, and we've been bringing Joseph on and keeping McBurney on at the same time. So I think it might be Destan, McBurney, either of them on the pitch with Joseph at any one time, possibly. So important for him to get involved.
I disagree with the fact that Destan and McBurney are similar profile, though, because McBurney, he's scored goals in the Championship before.
I mean, in terms of what they're good at, they're good in the air, hold up play. I don't mean the profile of who they are. It's more what they offer, and again, the extent is different. But
at the minute,
Joseph's different to them. Of course. He is injured, but when he'll be fit after the international break.
I was going to say, Destin currently is closer to Sinek, isn't he?
Absolutely is. But he would have been in the squad, but he was ill as well. So I think he's fit enough to play at Swansea. So interesting to see what he brings. Yeah, Bentos, if he continues his 1 in 20 record, he might reach the heady heights of 3 goals this season. Well, hopefully his record will improve from now. So, he stayed up last year. Don't have to worry about that. He scored 1 in 5 this season. So that's more positive. So that's a better record. What else happened in the Bristol game?
We kept Scott Twine relatively quiet.
Oh, yeah. It's just a shame everyone else was quite loud for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was nice to not concede a Scott Twine free kick. I'm very pleased with that one, if I'm honest with you. I was kind of worried about that one. Coxey, yeah, nice to see Bairstow, 3 goals for Bolton. It's nice seeing that. It is really nice seeing that. So
he's going to be linking up with Marcus Force there come tomorrow.
Very nice.
Marcus Force is off to Bolton if he can keep fit.
That's a good move for Bolton, I think.
Yeah.
But it's probably not a good move for Bairstow because we want him to play. Yeah. So if Force goes in there,
they'll keep playing him if he's scoring, won't they? So
yeah. Did we loan out the player?
let's not get into that. I think that's too much.
Yeah, that's going to be a debate and a half, isn't it?
We'll only know come the end of the year, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll have that debate after game week 46.
Yeah, well, no, Balumi coming off the bench again. He did look really lively. That shot from quite far range as well. You know what? I when he did that kind of 30-yard attempt across goal to go in the bottom left, though it was a bit wide, I loved it. And the reason why I loved it because he showed I thought it was quite a powerful strike, and if that was on target, I think that the keeper was already beat, to be honest with you. But it showed that he's coming in guns blazing.
Speaking of that keeper, Jesus.
He made some good saves from Joseph Dramain.
He made a lot of good saves.
Bernie's header.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like a few of them were point blank right at him. Like Carl Joseph's literally was at him. But yeah, it was just nice to see Balumi again coming off being sharp and actually having, I don't want to say the audacity, but actually doing it. The confidence. Thank you, gentlemen. That's where I was leading there. The confidence in doing that. I'm just really looking forward until he's fully fit. Fully fit. I mean, the full 90 minutes. I think it's going to be really good for the attacking depth, the good rotation side of things with the Ndala, Gelhardt, Akintola. I think that's going to be something that's really going to be interesting. Obviously, Miller, when we expect him after the international?
On Tuesday to see if he can join in full training.
All right.
Yeah. I reckon he might be probably same time as Crooks, which I imagine would be the week after Swansea.
Yeah, you're looking at either Southampton or Preston, I'd imagine. Yeah. So we've got Miller to come back, Ajayi, Famewo, Crooks, Destan, Coyle fully, Williams up to full fitness. And this is where I was going with this point. Coyle and Williams are playing 45 minutes for the 21s on Tuesday at the MKM Stadium against Birmingham in the Premier League Cup. Birmingham, although they're a Cat 1 academy now, they got that upgrade this summer. City beat them 5-1 last time they played them. So, just because they're Cat 1 doesn't mean they're not beatable, because in years gone by, they always have been. So get yourself down there if you've got nothing else to do. It's free entry if you're a member. I'd play Balumi at the end of that tangent. I'd play Balumi in that game as well. I'd give him 45 minutes because Sergei said he wouldn't do it before because the pitches aren't always that great at 21's level. And the Bishop Burton pitch at the minute, I was there yesterday, is very, very dry. It looks like it's so dry. But it's at the MKM. So that pitch is what we play on every week. Surely, if you're going to do it, you chuck Balumi in then. Give him 45 minutes, starting a game. I'd do it.
Oh, Joe, can they play Coyle, Williams and Balumi?
I believe so.
Do you only get 2?
Is it only 2 or is it 3? The maximum of.
They've played. Who have they played before? All at once. They've played Cannon Scott, Emmanuel Williams, and all those sorts of names in the 21 all at once before.
Randell.
So, yeah. Tom Huddleston and John McLaughlin have played under 21s football before.
Well, Huddleston, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? Because he's not been under 21 for multiple decades.
Yeah, it's a number of players that you can play above the age of 23, isn't it, in an under 21? So I just can't remember how many you can name. Memory's gone on that one.
Yeah,
Balumi is technically under 23, so so they could get away with it, but it depends how much they want to risk him, doesn't it? And ultimately, Balumi is 23. So
it'll have been whether he was under 23 before the summer, I guess.
He turned 23 in June.
Borderline, then. I don't know whether that's in or out of the rules, whatever the rules are.
So I guess before we move on and close all this kind of the Bristol and part on, I think one thing that keeps getting brought up all over the place is Panda's performance in goal as well at the moment, which can I just remind people how Pandos was last pre-season and the start
Well,
of
he
last
didn't.
season.
Here's the thing about Panda. He didn't keep us out of being in League One. He was so good. He basically kept us out of going straight down to League Two. We would have conceded that many.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, the start of last year of the preseason, we said, "Oh my God, he was the worst goalkeeper we ever saw." We wrote him off. Everybody wrote him off, and no one watching right now can say otherwise because it was bad, and it was like that for the first couple of games. I mean, we only played what 3-4 games now, including the, cup, and look, it hasn't been terrible. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been terrible. He's still making some of the key saves. I still feel he's a bit shaky at the moment, but I think he was at the start. A few more games, we'll have the end of last season's Panda back. That's it. I wouldn't worry about him right now. Yeah, and people say, no, we should cash in. I mean, we're going to go into this debate in a second anyway, so I might just save that. I'm going to save that rant for later on whilst we talk about the transfers.
We will do that soon. I had something interesting to say about. Oh yes, well maybe remember when Kane? It took him like 7 years to score in August in the Premier League. Maybe Panda just hates August because he was awful last August. I mean, he was awful. Yeah. So maybe it's just that. Maybe.
Yeah, just coming after the summer, after his little breakaway. It must be something like a slow starter,
Well, and speaking, because I think Out of Context Soul City on Twitter tweeted that great tweet about Grzycki saying, "Oh, there's only 45 minutes left of the window," and Myla says, "Go to sleep. You're not going anywhere.
You're going nowhere, Temo. Get your sense to bed."
Yeah. Of course,
shall we talk about the appeal briefly? Because I know it was a topic of the conversation on Tigers Talk, but I'd quite like to talk about it because I sat and slaved through all 34 pages of that bloody report, only to give my notes to Adi to read out because I was at work.
I haven't read it. I considered reading it. I thought I have better things to do. So go on, Joe. Give us the details.
But my takeaways from it, which was the
sorry. Before you go on, what takeaway are you having?
A pizza from the top of the street.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, nice and easy. My takeaway from it was that with Louis Barry, ultimately we did a deal we were never, ever in a financial position to do. Because if we're defaulting on that much money, then why did we ever commit to it in the first place? Louis Barry's on 35 grand a week. That's mental. And we could only be paying a share of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, were we paying him 38 grand a week? Or is that what he's on at Villa and we would have been paying 25?
Rumour has it we're paying the full whack.
That's terrible because that's more than Amur and Cynic and McBurney, probably Seri, Tufan for a player that had not played in the Championship before. It's ridiculous. And the thing about signing players in January, especially on deadline day or towards the end of the window, you don't sign a player for half the season. Normally, you look at how many games even the top players you sign that play in week in, week out, when you sign them in January, late in January, you get 16, 17 games. We got him for 4. Obviously, even if he'd played, even if he'd kept us up, considering we stayed up without him, even if he would have scored a lot of goals, is it worth the money?
It's not worth £830,000 that we owed Aston Villa. Like, some of the most damning things from the report were, quote, "This is a serious breach. The club was not a case where the club accepted the breaches and sought to make amends. It contested the breaches. The breaches were not the product of an administrative error. City, quote, had no answer to why the payment to Aston Villa during the 28th of February was not paid. City's finances were described as, quote, a house of cards which did not and could not, and never could, withstand the most general winds of proper analysis."
That's damning.
That's very damning from the independent panel. And Villa saying, "You're outstanding almost £1 million and have paid nothing since February." I want to know where we got the 830 grand from to pay them in one go on the 4th of July. Where on earth did that money come from?
It's just Adjun's bank account, isn't it? It's not
And
money from the club.
The club's argument was that because Villa said, we owed you money for Philogene, we're going to check that that's correct, work it all out, and then we'll work out who owes what who owes what to who.
But they should know, shouldn't they? They shouldn't have to work that out. They should just know. That was a year ago.
It was about the sell-on clause from Ipswich, though, because we negotiated a sell-on clause in the deal of a redacted percentage, which wasn't in the documents. So I would say, like, the club's argument, I think, there was, well, Villa, we've got this email showing that Villa said they owed us this money, but
you would know that. They would know what money is owed to them. They shouldn't have to work that out. That's ridiculous.
But surely, just to be on the right side of the law anyway, you signed something to say this is the new agreement. You don't just sort of do it as a backhanded way of doing it. We'll do it by an email chain, or at least we've got a paper trail. You're working with millions and millions of pounds here. You sign everything off, for Christ's sake.
Mm-hmm. Gentleman's agreement in football, as you'll see between Isak and Wissa, means nothing. If it's not in paper, these clubs and these organisations with all this money, they don't care. They're going to ask for what they're owed, quite rightly. Because Villa really needed the money. That's why, even though we hadn't paid for them, they wanted to sell us Barry because they needed the money as well, because they were being fined by UEFA at the same time we were being sanctioned by the EFL. But yeah, you're quite right.
I think it's telling as well that Villa was still willing to do a permanent deal with us on after all of that had happened, and they said in the emails about the permanent deal, given you're looking to do a permanent deal today, I'm not sure it's okay for you to pay this this was on the 30th of June, in 2 weeks' time on the 14th of July. We can't afford to keep funding your cash flow. Mm-hmm. Then City requested the invoices to be reissued because Villa said we've got to raise this with the EFL. So what City were trying to do there, I think, reading between the lines, is if we've got an invoice reissued that has this date on it, then all of a sudden we've got a new invoice. So all of the previous ones don't matter. We were deliberately trying to coax Villa into
delaying
muddying the waters. And their argument not being rock solid. But Villa just flat out refused because they're a football club that's run properly.
Mm-hmm. Well, UEFA don't think that, but
I was going to say UEFA definitely.
Yeah. Do you think that because it's been happening this window as well, because we've sort of had to, do you think that Adjun, because his job or his role in a lot of the transfers isn't necessarily, we haven't really made a huge amount of marquee signings also as we have with transfer fees, but we've signed a lot of players who are free agents, Seri, Oscar, and we've had two this summer. Do you think that maybe the reason why we've done some of these deals is because of the high wages as opposed to the transfer fees? That's why clubs want, why Villa wanted us to have Louis Barry when other clubs higher up the league wanted him, because we wanted to pay the wages. So he's almost thought, well, yes, it's a financial risk, but he's more thinking about, can we just get him in? Because he was so desperate to stay up last year. The annoying thing is that, of course, we didn't need him in the end.
We had the relationship with Villa as well, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Existing from Philogene and all that kind of thing. And Adjun had credit in the bank with Nassif Severus. I think it's safe to say that all of that credit in the bank has gone.
Oh, I mean,
yeah.
Mind you say that, but we didn't pay Burns, did we? Or for Burns. I mean, we got Ndala for free. Is that because we're paying all of his wages? Which, again, when you think about it, these are good deals that we can get them over the line, but we're paying a lot of the wages for Gelhardt, for example.
The difference is, though, Ndala will be on very little money as it is.
Yeah, comparatively, you're right.
It's not bringing in someone. He'll be on similar money to, like, let's say at Man City. Compared, he'll be the lowest earner at Man City. Here, he'll probably be a middler. He'll be above like your Sellers, Fleming, your Vaughan, purely because
you say that. But I wouldn't have thought Barry would have been on 38, considering he never played at the Championship level. So maybe he's on higher wages.
Well,
I guess we don't know.
Barry had bonuses in that as well, with like appearance bonuses, win bonuses. I mean, he only played 4 times, but
So we wouldn't have gotten it here.
But he had bonuses in there. So if you look, let me get the figures up again. The payments we were late on for February wages were £137,160.
So these are all of our own players, are they?
Nope. So these are just what we owed to Aston Villa. This is what we were invoiced for. In March, we were invoiced for £151,855.73. In April, £148,500.03. In May, £152,562.01. Plus the loan fee invoice 1 from February of £240,000. That totals £830,000 and £830,077.77.
So Barry got injured in February, didn't he? So it does appear to me that they haven't paid, or they've tried to delay the payment specifically, not because they couldn't afford to. Maybe they couldn't afford to as well, but also, worryingly, Ashton thinks he can get away with not paying for Barry because he was injured.
The EFL's argument was the default in payments was deliberate. City could not pay and did not pay. The club took no steps to remedy the breach of the rule. City sought to lie low in the hope that it could get away without paying Villa sooner.
What I mean is, yes, they couldn't afford to, but they haven't just evened that out across every club. It's specifically Villa and Barry, which makes me think that not only can they not afford to just on a technical basis, but there's also Ashton trying to think that he's not above the law per se, but
his negotiation relationship with Severus and trying to get Barry on a permanent deal because he thinks there's a player there and that argument would wash because they've got a good personal relationship.
Mm-hmm. But it's not objective that, we'll just pay 90% of all of our players' wages. It's more, I don't like the situation that's happened with Barry, and that's a kind of emotional, personal-ish thing. It's a decision, and that's what I don't like. And they have done some good deals this summer. I think when we got put under an embargo, I said Ashton out because I'm very reactionary, and then the second day you think, okay, well, we'll see what happens. I'm not exactly calling for Ashton to go. I'm going to be saying that were he to sell the club, I would probably say on a financial level, I would be less concerned about the future of the club, which is not exactly the same as saying Ashton needs to go today, but I'm leaning towards that.
To summarise, the appeal documents are worrying because the club cite cash flow issues in there, which we all know of. And the fact is, we know that there's more that's not mentioned in that, with Finn Burns, with late payments to contractors, suppliers, all this kind of thing. That appeal and the fact it's only focused around Louis Barry is best case scenario for the publicity side of the club, because the fact that the EFL haven't brought, given that this is a legal document, we'd have seen if the EFL argued anything else. The fact that the EFL haven't dragged everything else they're concerned about into that appeal doesn't reflect as badly on the club as it otherwise would.
Yeah, because I don't think that the Burns one was an issue, right? But they didn't talk about that. Although it wasn't the Burns one, we weren't actually late on that. We were going to be if Ashton didn't reread the rules. Wasn't that what happened?
Let me have a quick check.
Yeah, no, I think he's right. To be honest, it was something like we were going to be late, and it come out that where we had to get a bit of extra. So Ashton pumped a bit of extra from his media company in. Mm-hmm. And kind of fixed it as fast as possible from that. I think it was somewhat close to 3 mil that he pumped in.
7th of July from Mike White, just on Finn Burns. His tweets said, exclusive, Hull City have been forced to settle an outstanding debt for the second time in a week to get another transfer embargo lifted. It relates to an overdue payment to Man City for the loan of Finn Burns. A source has told me the debt has since been paid today. City had been notified late on Friday that they had once again been placed under a transfer embargo. Had the overdue payment not been made by 4 p.m. tomorrow, the latest sanction would have been publicly reported on the EFL website per standard league regulations. The club have been approached for comment this past weekend. Adjani Lajela defended Hull City's position regarding the 3-window fee restrictions punishment relating to Louis Barry's loan from Aston Villa, claiming the issue is a misunderstanding. That's another thing I didn't mention in there. Contrary to what Adjan said, it wasn't quote, wasn't the product of an administrative error. It was a deliberate breach. So Adjan has been caught out. His argument that fans in their masses, in some cases, believe. Personally, I didn't. I thought that the Louis Barry stuff was always going to be the tip of the iceberg, and it's become clear since then that that's definitely the case. So that argument never washed with a lot of people, us included in that. And it's good to know that legally that has been ruled untrue.
Yeah, I mean, I said it at the time when Edgen tried to justify what had gone on as it errors and admin, and Sim saying, "Oh well, the only problem is that I didn't know what the rules were." Well, this proves that not only is that true, but it's also worse than that.
Isn't
I don't think Edgen.
What the rules are?
Sorry.
Isn't it his job to know what the rules are?
Or at the very least, someone at the club. It's not necessarily always just him. Him is where the buck stops because he's the owner. But
he's the figurehead of it, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
There are so many people mentioned in the document, City's finance director. That's someone who, as running the finances day to day at the football club, being in charge of that. He's got to carry the can for a lot of this, but he's not a public face, so to speak.
You never know whether they would actually have the ability to say, well, yes, I know, Adjan, you want to buy this player, but don't, because that will break the rules. He'll probably just fire him if they say that.
They've got no choice but to do that for the next year. And after that, given that the EFL will be watching every move we do so closely, we will have to be on our best behaviour.
Well, speaking of that, because we do have, the deadline tomorrow, Hughes, that one seems to have gone not quite per se. Coventry might be moving away from that. They made a third.
I don't know.
We'll see. But I guess the situation is
Sheaf going to Wrexham and gone. They'll have some.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, because Ben Sheaf's just gone to Wrexham for what, 6.5 million was it? That, and their last bid was 10, and we're all under the understanding, even though we've said 20. 15 might tip the hat.
20 is what they want next year. 15, you would be silly, especially considering the cash flow problems at the club. You would be silly not to turn down 15. And 10 that's the thing. Is stupid to accept, but 15 is a lot more. What I'm saying is, especially with goalkeepers, especially because Panda, he's a really good goalkeeper. I don't necessarily think his value is going to double next year. He's not that good on the ball, which I think is something a lot of clubs would pay a premium for. Do you accept £5 million for Panda? I can understand why you wouldn't want to, but on a sacrifice out of the two of them, is it a lesser of two evils to sell a goalkeeper? Easier to replace and cheaper than Hughes?
So, with respect to Panda, we're only looking at this because of the predicament we're in.
Oh, of course.
This is it. Like 5 million right now to pay for a lot of debts is, short-term fix. I think I had this discussion with someone on Twitter the other day, and my argument I was trying to put across was that I personally wouldn't. I appreciate it's a short-term fix and it fixes the debts and it makes our life easier to not be put under that suspended transfer embargo. I appreciate and I totally understand that. My argument against that is, though, will Panda still be worth 5 million at the end of the season, or will he be worth more? With Panda being at the club as well, I'm not saying not August, we've just discussed how bad August has been for him. But for the remainder of the season, as we've seen last season, Panda's going to be the player that's going to obviously prevent more goals from going in. We've seen it. We know he can do it.
With how bad our defense is, it's even more important than last year.
Exactly. So if we want to climb higher in the league, and I'm not just saying, because we want to be higher, I'm talking the money that comes from being a position higher every time around. Having Pandora in, surely having him
as well. That's what worries me most. Because
it's not a good market, is it? Right. Considering it's a freebie.
Let's look at it from a loan perspective, first of all. Hadjimetovic, when that deal gets done and confirmed, he is loan spot number 4 after Gelhardt, Edala, and Lundstrom.
Crazy that Lundstrom's a loan deal to me, but go on.
If Panda goes, our primary target, as was reported in the Turkish press a few days ago, and I laughed it off as bullshit, now Baz has said it's the deal we actually want to do, is a Turkish goalkeeper I signed on like FIFA 22 when we first got these, when we first got Adjan in charge. Ersin Destanoglu, who got up to 92 rated for me on FIFA, so let's sign him up. No. He's a young Besiktas goalkeeper. He would be loan number 5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then we also want Darko Gyabi from Leeds, which would be a loan. So that would be loan number 6, and you can only have 5 in a match day squad. Plus, Sergei said we are still working on a solution for Lalawi with FUS Rabat. Mm-hmm. So that could be 7 loans, and you can only have 5 in a match day squad.
But we can't play him, can we? So, or can we? Haven't we bought him, but we have to loan him out? Well, I don't know.
So I got last week, which could well have changed by now, is that the club were looking at loaning Reda Lalawi out for this first season. And then we didn't say this last week because I wanted to check it and to see if certain things happened. But I'm going to publicise it now. It's deadline day.
I suspect that coming from the Moroccan League, we might have done that anyway.
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? It's deadline day. Bollocks to it. Let's put it out. I was under the impression that Lalawi was going to go out on loan. I didn't try and work out how that's compatible with Puerta going back to Leverkusen. But the plan was Lalawi signed his 4-year deal here. He's going to go at 1 year out on loan. Job's a good one. He was still at the training ground. I saw him at the training ground as of Thursday. And Sergei told James Hogarth and Alex Burgess, who were there for BBC Radio Humberside, that they were working on a solution with FUS Rabat, his club back in Morocco, to try and, make Lalawi a Hull City player. Even though Puerta has gone back, Lalawi is still training with Hull City every day. That's the situation with Lalawi. I'd imagine he would go out on loan.
I just can't imagine us loaning him to Grimsby to play in the cold rain on Tuesday night in the EFL Trophy. But we should, because that's what he would be doing for us playing in England. So
yeah. On another front of loaning out young players, I had a couple of conversations yesterday, and I was told to expect a bit of movement with the older under-21s lads. So there, you're looking at Ty, Sellers-Fleming, Harry Vaughan. They're 2 definites. Then I think for me, you're looking at Farrell Brown, Noah Wadsworth, and maybe Nathan Tinsdale as well. Possibly 2, Stan Ashby.
Can I just point out Furlong already injured again? I think he might have Turkish heritage. That's very
Nathaniel, you've got it bang on. I thought about that. The exact same thing yesterday. I was like, really? Again?
Matazo's Belgian. He got injured and Miller's Canadian. It's whatever. But, can I just comment here? Tyneside Tiger. Let's pretend we can afford his wages the EFL allow us and he would want to come, would you take Bamford? I mean this with the greatest respect, but piss off. No. We've already got Gelhardt and Drama. I'm not having more of that, lead scum in the team.
We probably do need another striker though, because I don't see much in Destan.
He might score some goals.
Come on, look, Cynic 2.0. He'll be on for 2 minutes and be out again. Come on.
Moving on. Back to Fairlong. Yeah, I was sat in that press conference room, and Sergey said, Baz asked Sergey, "How's James Fairlong getting on?" And he goes, "Oh, he's just got injured again today." And I just wanted to sit there and slump and put my head in my hands, but I thought I probably shouldn't. But I walked out of that press conference and just said, Jesus Christ, for Fairlong, that's awful. I feel for that lad. Because Fairlong was meant to go out on loan. He was either going to play 21s football to try and build his fitness up, or the more likely thing, the thing he would rather have done, was go out on loan. He can now do neither because he's injured again. And his contract's up at the end of the year.
We won't be renewing that. We won't afford to.
He won't be seen in Hull again. But the issue is, Fairlong leaving would have allowed us to get a centre-back in who's on little money, let's say, on loan from a Premier League club. Perhaps someone who's played in League 2 or League 1 for a bit, just as someone like another body there as cover who's, say, 19 years old and has got experience of first-team football before.
True, but it's the one in, one out scenario, but that phrase, as we keep saying, is actually misleading because Furlong's wages aren't as big as someone from a Premier League team.
If Furlong was to leave, we would have to bring someone in who would be on a similar pay packet to him.
I guess if you add the academy players up to something, maybe that.
And again, that's another loan slot.
Yeah, again. And it depends as well on whether these older 21s players count, because they have to be like first team players, so to speak. So I'd imagine Ty, because he signed a new 3-year contract last year, would count towards.
He's played for us, hasn't he? So
I'd imagine Harry Vaughan would count towards the first team.
Should do,
but
I would hope he does.
Would Noah Wadsworth? I don't think so. Would Pharrell Brown? I don't think so. If we loaned Callum Yam out, would he count towards the first team budget? Absolutely no chance. So we would have to we'd have to loan out all of the young lads who count technically as first teamers because they're older 21s players and have been around the first team more and longer. But only the club and the EFL will know the exact detail of who counts for what, if that makes sense.
I just want to pick up on a few comments here. I know I brought it up already. Notion 3000 says, that's the funniest thing Nathaniel's ever said. I don't know whether you mean the bit where I abused everyone from Leeds or abused everyone from Turkey. I feel bad about both. And then Edison. We had James Trafford last week. Now we've got Edison commenting in. Thoughts on the swap deal, Panda for Dieng from Middlesbrough? That's not happening. So.
But Panda's not going to Middlesbrough anyway.
Linked to Leicester.
Yeah, but that's come from Alan Nixon. So take that with a massive, massive dollop of salt.
Well, yes. That's the thing. Coventry, of course, want Hughes, but at the moment, I don't trust that Leicester actually want to sign Panda. The Middlesbrough one was debunked weeks ago anyway.
Yeah.
It was debunked again yesterday as well, last night. So it's been debunked a few times now.
Could be the agent trying to get Panda a new contract, but of course, for obvious reasons, we can't give anyone a new contract for more money because we're at the salary cap. So you'd have to sell someone not to replace them and give him more money, which wouldn't work.
Well, look, let's keep going. So I've got a list here. Let's see what ground we've covered. Hadjimetovic is our player once Kamara's moved to Getafe.
Let's assume that will happen. It should.
Yeah, we've got that's something we did say before the stream start. Well, I brought up with Getafe being the Spanish version of Hull City at the moment. We just hope it does get sorted ASAP on Monday, because we can't have that hanging over our head to the point of where we do lose Abu, but we've run out of time to get the new player in for ourselves, because then that does obviously leave us with a big open spot. Now, brilliant for obviously January, but not for the start of this season. And it makes everything really complicated overall. So I am actually concerned about that deal. I think everybody else is like, yeah, it's all done. I agree. It sounds all done. But we are Hull City. There is a factor in the way. And when there's a silly factor in the way, and you are a Hull City fan, you cannot ignore it.
But look,
that is my
Hull City on deadline day, which is exactly what you're getting at, Chris. There's always bound to be some sort of twist.
Yeah.
Hull City, under the ownership of Adjanila Jalla, on a transfer deadline.
He loves a deadline day drama. He loves it.
Shit is going to hit the fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could he sell McBurney just to,
get rid of him and then re-sign him
for less money? We'll give you $100,000 goal bonus, but you're on $1,000 a week.
So to get
that's
back
an
on
incentive,
track,
isn't it?
That will average out over the course of the year to what you would have been on. Yeah.
To get back on track, we've spoken about Panda going out. We've spoken about Hughes going out. We've spoken about a lot of the 21s. Kamara, Lalawi, Furlong. I'd expect a statement from the club at some point to say that Gustavo Puerta has gone.
Oh, yes, there must be something, because if you only base your news off Twitter, he's technically still our player, isn't he? If you base it off what the actual Hull City accounts say, I mean.
Yeah, I would imagine there will be a statement about Gustavo Puerta returning to Bayer Leverkusen at some point on transfer deadline day, possibly after the deadline, just to make everything seem nice and smooth and chill.
Yeah.
And that leaves then, well, just to finally rubber stamp, Panda and Hughes are going nowhere. And
that's the plan.
That's the plan at the moment. But
Panda's exit is more likely than Hughes's, but neither will go.
Wolves are so garbage, they're going to panic. I'm shocked no one swooped in for Sargent at Norwich, because he's scored 6 goals this season already. Our top scorer last season scored 6. So it's deadline day, so there's always panic buys, and there's always players that no one has been linked to for the whole summer, and then boom, they go somewhere.
Yeah. To free up space then for Darko Giabi, who, just to sum up who he is, what he is as a player, ex-Man City Academy, now at Leeds, been at Leeds for a while, was on loan at Plymouth last year. From what I saw of him, he wasn't like outstanding. He was solid enough for the situation they were in. Lost the ball quite a lot. I know Ant put in our group chat earlier from one of his old mates, relatives, whoever it was. I can't remember, that is a Plymouth season ticket holder. And he is enormous, Darko Giabi. He's like 6'5". That puts him up there with Tree and with Shemi.
Imagine a Giabi Crooks pivot. Oh, that'd be something.
No one.
And Ajayi back in the defence. I mean, you're going to be scoring every single corner if Gelhardt can beat the first man.
So
maybe we won't.
So, which senior midfielder is being
released?
Sold?
Christian and I want to fight you on this.
Is it Regan Slater or is it Casey Palmer?
Because
it's not going to be Lundstrom. It's not going to be Elliot Matazo. It's not going to be Matt Crook.
We are the only club in the world that would knowingly spend money on deadline day on a player we know is going to be injured for the next 6 months. But because we have Matazo, we can't sell him to ourselves. So that's sorted. He won't be going anywhere. Well, I've got a kind of monologue prepared about Palmer and Slater. Firstly, everyone wants to sell Slater. Valid, because he's been poor. I understand that. I sympathise. if he is as bad as you think, then why would anyone else at the Championship level or a good level want to pay money for him? So there's that. It's not true that these wages on Google that you look up aren't true, because they say that Barry's on 10 grand a week. So for some reason we paid him 28 grand more. But apparently, I can't remember which website, but if you Google it, the top result is that Palmer is on more money than Slater. So it might give you some more maneuverability on who you can bring in, especially from a Premier League club. And then Palmer, he's played for, is it 6 or 7 Championship clubs before? Plus, we have a light squad, other than up front where we have 3 players, which is good because you want goal scorers. We have 2 players in every single position. But currently, we actually have 3 number 10s, because Crooks is more of a number 10 than a deep-lying midfield player, because he played up front against Oxford last season. I think he is probably more forward-thinking. So that's Palmer, Gelhardt, Crooks. If you sell Slater, you still have 3 defensive midfielders and 3 forward midfielders, when really you have 2 defensive midfielder slots to fill and 1 number 10. But if you sell Palmer, you have Crooks and Gelhardt in the number 10, you have Giarbi, Slater, Hadjimatovic and Lundstrom defensively, which I think financially, the caliber of the player, you're more likely to get Palmer out than Slater, because he's moved before to other clubs. He's played better than Slater, and I think with the positions you would cover, it would make more sense to sell Palmer. Freudian slip there. Make more sense, or perhaps more likely that you could sell Palmer to help your situation than Slater. It might be either of them equally. I don't see Giarbi coming in, because I think it's so late in the window that many players are interested in players. But I guess what Hull would have to do is say, yes, you're interested in Palmer, you're interested in Slater, please God, sign them. We will let you have them, because it doesn't matter on the transfer fee. We'll sell them for £1. We just need to get them out because of the wages, because we need to loan in Giarbi. So maybe that would happen. But that's what I think about that situation.
Would you let both go?
Oh, God, that's a slippery slope, isn't it?
Exactly. But
the thing is, though, Chris, what were we saying? There's always a twist. It would be so Hull City to just do something so stupid like that.
Look,
and then
Emmanuel Dennis has been released by Forest, and he's played 8 games in the Super League. So Adjan is on that.
He's on it already. He's on the blower. He's on the blower. Ella.
If the goalkeepers and centre halves, in goal, if Panda goes, which he's not going to, if we can't get Sindestanoglu on loan over the line, which would be a difficult deal for us to do, because Besiktas, as Baz put out this morning, want a massive, massive, massive loan fee. The only free agent goalkeepers who have got Championship experience are Vito Manone.
Again, we'd have him back. Once a time.
Jed Steer, Tim Krul, Kona Boyce Clark, who was Reading's backup goalkeeper.
Tim Krul wants to go to Man United, so.
And Thomas Vaklik, who was at Watford and didn't play. Better than that, there's Fraser Forster, but that's not going to happen. And then it's Vincente Guaita, ex-Crystal Palace, Lucas Fabianski, Steve Mandanda, Guillermo Ochoa.
Oh, I take Fabianski.
Jan Mbogo, Rui Patricio. Those goalkeepers are not going to come to Hull City.
I take Rui Patricio.
I was going to say, there's quite a few you tick. It's the case of, would they ever come to
Donnarumma's available, isn't he?
Then for centre halves, Donnarumma's on a cut price. He's not on a free yet.
Oh.
So,
give him a call at 6 p.m. See if it's on a free then.
I think it just shows how crazy transfer business under Adjan has been. That we're under a transfer embargo. We literally physically at this current moment can't legally buy or sign any player of any type, and yet we're still thinking we could get about 5 in on deadline day.
But this is the thing. This is Hull. Everybody watching right now is actually looking at us going, well, yeah, it's possible because we are Hull City. And I think, honestly, I do see something like Palmer and Slater, though, both departing and just something coming out of the works. And I think, as Coxie stated, though, About McCarthy can play midfield. I actually prefer him as a CDM than I do a centre back.
Physicality wise, they're not they're not going to beat Cahill for pace. They're not because well, in the under-21s game against Millwall at Bishop Burton, not last week but the week before, Cahill made a sprint back. We were in the opposition's box for a corner. It got cleared. Bobby Moore on halfway hesitated and lost the ball. Millwall were bearing down one-on-one with Archie Howard, and Cahill, the speed they clocked him at, he would have been the second fastest player in the whole of the Premier League on that first match day doing that speed. That's how quick he was going, because he's got such long strides and he like gallops.
Sorry, I'm just seeing what you put up there, Neil.
Dele Alli.
he's a free agent.
Yeah,
He
do
wants
you know
to
what?
revitalize his career. He's played in Turkey.
Would it cover both of them going just for that one sign? Would that cover? I still don't think we'll be anywhere near.
If Dele Alli were to come in, can we win the transfer window with that? Ollie. Last time we won the transfer window on deadline day, we were still in a relegation battle come the final game of the season and stayed up on goal difference. The time
we
before
wasted 38 grand on
Louis Barry. The time before we
just got worse, didn't we?
We won the transfer window. We spent so much money, gambled the financial future of the football club on getting an outside shot at getting promotion through 2 playoff spots, and it kind of didn't work. Anyway, centre-backs, free agents, if Hughes goes, that's even worse.
Daniel Amati. I'd be all over Daniel Amati.
Well, yeah, there's Daniel Amati, but then there's Craig Dawson, Courtney House, Ben Mee, who's going to
on time. We've been linked to Courtney House before.
Courtney House, we've been linked with him for years.
Yeah.
Nathan Ferguson, who's ex-West Brom and ex-Crystal Palace, and he's dreadful.
The Joe Stansfield of defenders.
There's not a lot going on in the centre half department. Dan Potts, ex-Luton, Liam Cooper, been there, tried that, fans backlash, so Tan Kessler pulled the plug on it.
Well, I've been scouring Transfermarkt for the last month, and honestly, there isn't anyone. And we've already, Duncan Watmore got linked, but then he went to Blackpool and failed a trial. So I don't really think there is anyone of any position. Danny Ings went to Thingy, that club, the Sayers club. Jamie Vardy, for some reasons, gone to Italy. I guess nice weather there.
Yeah,
playing with Benito Mussolini's great grandson.
Wow, I did not know that.
So if you Google him, Mussolini at Cremonense, Romano Floriani Mussolini. This was a topic of conversation in a group chat earlier.
Does he play right wing?
With myself? No, he's a right back.
Oh well, he'll bomb down the right wing.
He'll be a wing back. Yeah, he'll be a wing back there. Yeah,
because politics.
His Wikipedia picture, his eyes are. Just Google it. Google Romano Floriani Mussolini or whatever he's called. His eyes are so Benito.
Oh God! Right.
Yeah.
Can I just mention? So I know we've had different transfer policies over the years. We had the Doncaster and Peterborough players, and we've had Turkish players, Fenerbahce players. We've had Egan, McBurney and Lunston from Sheffield United, of course. Giabi would be the third player that played in the EFL Trophy for Leeds and actually got a goal or an assist against Tranmere in the EFL Trophy in a 5-3 win. Gelhardt and Drame scored in that game. Giabi got an assist. So that's quite niche. I should actually look at the lineup for that match and see who else we're going to get.
Who else we're going to get from that game? Yeah.
Who else would have been in there? Robbie Gotts, Charlie Cresswell, maybe.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Yeah,
shout.
Crystal,
If we have a good few years, if we have a very good few years, then
Anyway,
we could afford
right,
him.
we're at 1 hour and 10 minutes. We're
Yeah.
chatting nonsense. We will do some sort of deadline day stream tomorrow,
This is
people.
important
Yeah.
background on our transfer policy, Joe. I'll have you know.
God's sake.
So,
Yeah, no, but we are looking at tomorrow. We've been discussing it. We don't know how long yet, but
put it
when
this
we're
way.
starting.
I'm daytime drinking, so I don't plan on sitting in my room all day talking to about 4 people watching to Holland back live for 12 hours because
Sam
they're
Greenwood.
one at work, or 2, they'd rather watch Sky Sports version.
To begin with, anyway. But no, I think we're going to talk about doing something later on, or just before it finishes, perhaps. Because it's going to be, look, we know City's going to do something. We all know it.
Yeah, we do.
We just don't know if it's going to be for the good or for the bad.
I've just got to explain it to my cat lover mum who's watching downstairs. Kurt Zuma is a free agent, low wages but a lifetime supply of cats. That's because he likes to kick them.
Yeah,
so no, I will
cat across his dining room.
Yeah,
I will rip up my digital membership if we sign Kurt Zuma in honor of cats. So
yes, Ben Toss. It's not a tent; it's a gazebo out the back.
It's where Fave Durgus is hiding.
Yeah, there's a little fireplace there as well, so everyone can sing "Kumbaya" or whatever they want to do.
Fave Durgus is camped out outside your house again, mate.
Dave will be loving it out there. To be fair, I'll get it all lit up for him nicely and everything. Turn the fireplace on. He can even play with the puppy. So. But no, I think tomorrow's going to be a crazy one. I think everybody's going to be looking at every social media. And obviously, guys, so Joe, although he's going to be day drinking, I guarantee he'll be on it like a carb on it. So he'll be making everybody aware of what's going on as well. So
I'll be working hard at my job, and I definitely won't be spending every spare second looking at Twitter. Definitely.
I'm quite lucky. I work right here.
Yeah.
Right here is
watching
It'll be about 5 minutes in the day when I'm not looking at social media, and that will be when I've got one in the morning.
I've got one screen for work and another screen for football. So that's how it works. That's literally how it works. I was even tempted. I do have 4 monitors, and I was tempted to hook up the ones up there just to have it all the way around going, but
wire them all up.
Yeah, wire it all up. Get it all going. Get the camera crew. There you go. But I think tomorrow's going to be great. So we're all going to be squeaky bumming, no matter what's going to be going on. I think if everybody agrees with that, subscribe to this, because I think tomorrow's going to be crazy, and you're only going to know if we're going to be live if you aren't following us on all the social platforms. So I think you should be
Well, Joe,
you might even get decked out in all yellow just to fit with the theme.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, Joe, Christian, thanks for joining me. I've been your host, Nathaniel, and this has been the award-winning To Holland Back podcast, brought to you by Altological Bar, which I forgot to say at the start, which is why I'm mentioning it now, if anyone wanted to bring me up on that. We'll see you maybe tomorrow for the Deadline Day special. And until then, have a nice day. Bye-bye.